in-laws used to affectionately call it. Today is Medical Billers Network Live and before a holiday. So we are answering the question of the day, which is, what is your favorite holiday scent? And we're going to stick around like the Thanksgiving theme because I think there's a difference between the Thanksgiving holiday scents and the Christmas ones. And I'm just going to say cinnamon because every other one I don't like. My favorite holiday scent is cinnamon. Even for Christmas, I'd say it's pretty. I mean, I guess I like wintergreen for Christmas, but cinnamon is my favorite for for Thanksgiving. All the other stuff I can't stand. I'm honestly completely averse to anything that has the maple smell. And I think I may have shared with you guys before that I'm like scarred from having worked in IHOP for a number of years when I was a kid. So anything that smells like maple syrup or mapley makes me like want to vomit. But shout out to IHOP for scarring me for life. Uh, honestly, I enjoy the taste of just plain old maple on food, but the moment that I get into the like flavored stuff and all the extra sweet stuff mixed with the maple, just reminds me of IHOP. So when you get here, drop a comment. Let me know what your favorite scent is. Hey, Ashley. Ashley says apple scents, but not too strong. Yeah, I guess my number one complaint is anything that smells too artificial just does not vibe with me. So those of you who watch this regularly probably have seen that I have a diffuser back there over there. It's backwards on my screen because I like essential oils. So something that's a little natural. So in today's show, we are talking about job search and why you are having trouble getting hired. I made some time to go through comments. Nicole and I made some time to go through comments finally after a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, and thankfully got some great feedback. Love you guys for leaving comments and telling me what you think and what you need to know more about. So thank you so much for that. So shout out to you for being so awesome. And some of the consistent feedback was kind of heartbreaking for me because it was a lot around many of you who've been in healthcare and kind of checked all the boxes, done all the things to get the certifications that you were told you needed to get or the training that you needed to get, but you're having trouble getting hired. So I thought I would make it a point to insert this into the schedule sooner than planned because I really want you guys to get the job. Like I want you to get employed before you get into this new year and the holiday season. Have something to look forward to. It'll be like your gift to yourself. So today we are talking about that. And if you are already employed and have been in the healthcare industry for a long time, please share your insight and input so that people who are brand new or trying to break into this industry can glean some advice from you. So as you join, let me know where you're joining from and share your favorite scent. And let's get started. So the first couple of thoughts that I had about the feedback is I feel like what happens is many of us are trying to get ready. So you are so focused on the getting ready to get out into the industry that you aren't really looking at what are your options in the meantime. When I say that, I mean, you become a professional student, basically. You have now maybe gone through all of the training programs, sat for all of the exams, and you're studying like crazy. And then you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. But you haven't actually gotten your foot in the door anywhere. So in the meantime, what I would suggest, if you can, one of the number one suggestions I could put out there is put yourself out for an internship, whether it's at a local doctor's office or a hospital system, and see if you can get your foot in the door somewhere and just say, hey, I'm a student. Easiest thing to say, I'm a student and I am trying to get some on-the-job knowledge so that I can learn more, or some programs require it. So maybe even just saying, hey, I need this for my graduation. Even if your program doesn't really require it, you can still say, I need this for my graduation. I would like to do some community service hours or volunteer hours for your organization. And some hospital systems might have a process for you to do volunteer hours, might not be able to get in there, but there are definitely some local practices and, excuse me, some local organizations that will be able to give you some time, even if it's just a handful of hours a week, that at least gets you connected with that organization. Also gives you something to put on your resume that says that you did something, even if it's not exactly along the lines of what you're interested in. But if you're breaking into healthcare, having no healthcare experience, it gives you an opportunity to have something on your resume that is healthcare related, even if it's something like scanning. Like maybe your job was to scan patients' referrals that came into the office and put those into their EHR, something as simple as that, right? You can take what we'll call is like in the nurse world, the scut work. Take the scut work. Just take what you can until you can do better. So if you are just joining, let me know that you're here. I see folks joining. I want to know you're here, and I want to know what your favorite holiday scent is, since we're almost around up to our holiday season. So my next tip for you guys is do not get discouraged. Don't get discouraged if you are having trouble with your first few applications that you've submitted, or maybe you've just been doing, perusing and submitting your resume on Indeed. Don't get discouraged. And what I will add to that is generalize. Like, what happens when we get discouraged is we start to say things like, I've tried everything. I've applied to all these places. I've applied to so many places, and no one wants to hire me. That's not it. One of my favorite mentors, and I call him my mentor. He's not my personal mentor, but he kind of is Tony Robbins. And he tells this story a lot about people that are trying to make a change, and they say, I've tried everything, and nothing works. And it's like, really? Did you try everything? Okay, I've tried a few things. So like, how many things? So I've tried 2 things and nothing worked. Like, okay, so you probably have some other things that you could try, right? And so I would encourage you the same, that if you truly think that, yes, you've been waiting for some time, but every single time you are sending your resumes or working just through one platform, like maybe you're just using Indeed, or you have an affinity to another platform that you feel is easier to work with, like ZipRecruiter or something, try something else. And so today we're going to talk about some of those something else's that I suggest. But before we do that, I want to give you my next tip, which is also a Tony Robbins tip, which is decide that you are going to get a position. Set a time frame for yourself and say, by this date, I am doing everything I can to get a position. Set yourself a very clear goal. Even if you really don't know exactly where that's going, where it's going to come from, decide that you are going to get a position by this date. And then I also would try to be as specific as possible. And this kind of goes to, if whether you believe in the concepts of like manifestation, like being able to really visualize what it is. Like, this is the job I want, and here's the place I want it. And this is the type of team members that I want to work alongside of, or colleagues that I want to work alongside of. So keep that in mind as you are looking at trying to move into a new career. Sometimes it's the mindset that creates the roadblocks, right? Sometimes you say, okay, I want to get a job. I really want to. And that's like in this side of kind of yearning, and instead choosing and deciding that this is happening is a totally different. Like, yearning for something and deciding on something are completely different, worlds apart. Okay. So today we are talking about the things that you can do to really stand out. And I speak from, every time I say this, it like blows my mind, because it's like very unfathomable from when you find yourself in a career for like as long as I've been in one. It really does blow my mind. I have like over 22 years of experience now on the hiring side of healthcare. And so you got to keep in mind that I've seen a lot of resumes, right? I've seen a lot of resumes. I've also seen a lot of people that have applied to me without a resume, just walking in. Like back in the day, people just walk into the office and like, can I apply for a job? And we actually would have applications at the office. It's very different. It does happen still. It is a very different age where now people typically go on a website and immediately try to search for a position. So there's been a few things that I've seen shift and change. And then as a hiring manager, you start to recognize the things that really work well, right? So what are the things that like make me take pause when I see someone's resume? Like what are the things that immediately jump out to me? And so these are tips that I have found on resumes over the years, and then also some things that I've also just learned and kind of research and really understanding what people are doing. So so let's just dive into those tips. So first thing is resumes matter. Don't let anybody tell you any different. The resume itself matters. Now, the contents of the resume may not matter as much, but the fact that you have a resume, it matters. So yes, you want to invest time. Doesn't mean that you have to invest money. You don't have to pay someone to create a resume for you. There are a lot of tools and resources out there that you can even refer to. You can go to the library and get a book. You can go online. You can search. And I did say library. I did. Those of you who are like, library? Do people do that? I go to the library because I love the library. Yes, you can still go to the library. Yes, you can go to a bookstore if you want something in your hand instead of looking at a computer. Those of us who spend our lives on a computer don't want to always look at a computer all the time. So maybe you choose to go to the library and get the book that walks you through how to craft a resume, even gives you samples of words. Like those of us who aren't maybe the best, kind of most eloquent with writing, you might find it really hard to write your summary, for example. So I absolutely recommend that you take a little bit of time, get out and get a resource. Maybe it's online, and look at what everyone else is doing. Doesn't mean that they're doing the right thing. I'm going to go over some of that today, but just get a sense of what are they doing? What are the experts recommending that you do with your resume? And I will say this is some of us who've been in healthcare for a while and you're looking to pivot. Let's say you have some experience in healthcare and then maybe you have some relevant experience in other industries. And now you have like this 4-page resume. No. Employers do not want to look at a lot of information. They will not get past page 1. Highly unlikely that they will even look at anything beyond page 1. So I absolutely recommend that you decide what is necessary. So less is more, okay? Decide what you absolutely need to have on this resume. Now, there might be some relevant experience, like say you're applying for a position that is like a patient services position, and you want to prove that you have customer service experience. Like, absolutely put that on there. Don't feel hesitant to put that information on the resume, all right? Make sure that you consider and cover all of your bases with relevant experience. But let's say you worked at a place for 6 months and then another 9 months and then this and then that. Like, okay, what's relevant? Did you have like 10 jobs in a year and a half? Probably don't want to reflect all of that. Perhaps there's a gap. The reality is that most of us, unless it's like a marked gap where like you took a few years off, we aren't as concerned with these smaller gaps in time, especially if it looks like you also were doing education. And then you can also utilize your summary page or even areas on your resume to just say, I was a stay-at-home mom, or I was, caring for a sick parent or something like that, to explain what was going on in your life during that big pause. But it's better that you have clear historical information instead of a ton, because what we immediately decide is this person will not stick. If we see that you're switching, you got 4 or 5 jobs in the span of a year, we're gonna be like, this person's not gonna last. I'm not gonna hire someone who I know is not going to last. I would rather that you are in the job hunt for some period and then don't have a position versus have a handful of positions in a year, okay? So I will just lay the law and say, do not go over a page and a half. And I say a page and a half because you have a lot to break down maybe, and you have a lot of experience. If you are somewhat new to healthcare, you probably don't need more than a page. Use your page wisely. You should not have this massive gap at the top of your resume. It shouldn't be like 2.5 to 3 inches at the top of your resume. Your address and all of your contact information does not need to be that big. Trust me, don't waste the space. It's easier and better for us to see one page because, again, we're not going to make it to the other pages. So you might feel so excited about the past experience that you have at the bottom of page 2, but most of us are not looking that far. Okay, so you want someone to stop, and stop means quality contents at the front of the resume. Okay. Next thing is like a kind of a no-brainer, I hope, is make sure you add your credentials. Like if you have a credential, add your credentials. Okay. Don't feel hesitant to put, whatever, CPC or CPB or whatever, CMRS, whatever credentials you might have that are relevant, put it right after your name. Put it right after your name. And if you don't have a credential that came along with your training, if you took a training course that didn't offer a credential, you haven't sat for that test yet, there are still things that you can do. And that would be kind of giving yourself like a headliner, experienced medical biller or certified medical biller or trained, trained medical biller looking for a position or something that, utilizing words that come from the ad is really important. So if like, let's say you are certified or you have the training from a program that maybe calls it something different, you might utilize some of the terms from that training. And then you're going to use at the end of that part of what came in the ad. So, like I said, experienced medical biller might be the ad. You're going to use those. Those are what we call keywords, right? You guys understand that. And just like anything else in this world today, they're all built when there's a massive amount of things, for example, resumes going into Indeed, it's all algorithmic. It's all using keywords. So you have to make sure that you are utilizing the words that are in the ads for the jobs that you are trying to be selected for. Okay. So very important that you understand the connection there. Even if you are working with a recruiter or something like that, these recruiters and these recruiting systems are exactly the same. They are algorithmic programs. They are using keywords and phrases to look up the information for employers that they might be hiring for. So you want to be in there with the relevant experience that is being asked for in the ads. And that goes for words even throughout your entire resume. Like make sure that you are using the terms that people are looking for, whether it's in billing or coding or front desk, whatever it is that you're looking for as a position. Read the ads and really interpret them and start to think about how you can utilize those terms in your resume. Now, don't go in and just like embellish or whatever. But if you have experience in healthcare, even if it's from the training side, and that they are looking for someone who has experience navigating payer portals, and they use the term payer portals in their ad, you're going to want that term payer portals if that's part of your experience or your training, right? So think about ways that you can utilize these keywords as parts of or pieces of your resume. All right. One of the things that I thought was really great and insightful is this was actually from someone that I watched on YouTube, someone else that was talking, like a recruiter that I'd watched on YouTube some time ago, that was talking about bolding words. So throughout the resume, you might want to even like allow the eyes to be drawn to those words. I've not seen a resume like that. That doesn't mean it's like wrong or right. It just means that not everybody's doing it, which means that there's your opportunity. Maybe you should be doing it. And because your eyes are drawn, whenever you're reading something, your eyes are drawn to the bold, right? Sometimes there are books or even like white papers that are written that have sections of the white papers that have bolding, and then they take quotes out of the body of a white paper to kind of put them off to the side, to italicize and bold and make them in bigger font. Not to say you want it to be all kinds of like written like a white paper, but you might want to bold it. You might want to even do things like underline sections that are going to be more of value to employers. All right. So I loved that this new system that I've seen people doing on a regular basis. And again, this kind of goes to like other industries have this down packed. People that are in very competitive industries, software development, and there's a lot of other industries that have resume writing, I feel, down to a science. And finance industry, like they seem to have it down to a science more than we have figured it out on the healthcare side, and all different levels too. I mean, even from a high level, executive level in healthcare, I had been over this last year looking for an executive level team member, and have been amazed at like the kind of lackluster resumes that came across my desk. So, but what I was going to say is that a lot of folks are doing like rating systems for knowledge. So for soft skills and hard skills, right? So maybe, and I'm going to pull up some examples here in a few moments that I think will be helpful for you guys to kind of wrap your heads around. And I think it will hopefully be something that you can start to add in pretty quickly into your resume. So, so soft skills and hard skills that you can kind of rate yourself on and be honest. Like if you're saying like, an example of that would be like, Spanish speaking skills. You can rate yourself instead of saying like, I don't know what people typically say, but when you are not fluent, you might say, moderately proficient or something like that in Spanish, versus maybe giving yourself a 3 out of 5 stars or 4 out of 5 stars or whatever, where you could have a conversation, hold a conversation with someone, but maybe, not feel very confident writing or something. But having that rated actually says a lot more. Our eyes prefer that anyway, not having to read a bunch of extra words. And it just saves you, again, back to saving more space. And some of the resume examples, true. This is like confession. I had the points for today's conversation all ready to go. And then we got on here to prepare. And I said, it would be so much better if I actually had examples. So I just went to the Google machine. So what I'm going to share with you guys is not like something that I wrote off of the basis of this, but when I pulled it up, it was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wrote. But the rating system a lot of people utilize the little sidebars, and you'll see that when I show some examples, they're using sidebar of the resume. So you're not really occupying a lot of space. You're instead utilizing the dead space that isn't being used. So again, back to consolidating and using the one page wisely. All right. So the next thing is I want you to start thinking about ways that you can really make yourself stand out. So one of the things that I absolutely love, and this goes back to something that one of my previous coaches told me, is when you have your picture on things, people have an attachment to that, and they have a natural affinity to seeing your eyes and connecting with you. So we used to be, she recommended that we have our pictures on, and I think I don't know where my business cards are, but I have my picture on my business card because of that, because it is true. People actually have a hard time throwing away like a personalized business card. There's a psychological reason for this, but people have a hard time throwing away a picture of someone. That less likely, they might hang on to it longer, right? And studies have been shown to prove this, that they've held on to the business cards longer because there is a picture on it. Now they might end up throwing it away eventually, but they'll probably look at it 4 or 5 times and think, oh, maybe I'll use this at some point, versus just tossing it. So same thing is true for your resume, and in just the human element. Like, you now are a person. You are not a piece of paper. Now you are a person on this piece of paper, but you actually are human, right? So most people, what happens is the employers are taking the next step and going to, and I'll talk about this next, taking the next step and going to your LinkedIn or going to other social medias to see who you are. We all do that. Every employer does that. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you give them the picture, like, this is me. And it does not have to be like, a glamour shot. Do people still get glamour shots? Don't let it be a glamour shot. Don't go out there and do like a whole thing and paint yourself up and all that. Like, just let it be you. On a nice day where you feel really confident and you can, pop up a nice smile that's welcoming and warm, just let it be you. Let it be really you, the person that they're going to see hopefully when they reach out to you for a video interview. So, un poco español, I just saw you. That's funny. All right. So the next thing, so I mentioned already about the the bolding throughout the resume. I also think that getting a little bit creative with certain font that you want to stand out. Now, I don't mean go out and get the really fancy font that you can't read. That's annoying. But instead, using fonts to your advantage, where you might change a font or italicize a certain area that you want someone to be drawn to, because we are drawn to variations. We like to see when things are different in a particular area of a resume. We're going to look at that first. So think about that. And then I also like to draw attention to fun facts. Like when someone puts in their resume something like kind of funny, kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Like that person, likes this, or they like to travel, or something, something funny, something interesting, something real, and something that's that might be a fun fact. And it might literally say fun fact. You might actually put something in there about yourself. You are marketing yourself. You might not like that, but that is what you're doing. So whatever you can do to help people feel connected to your brand, it's your personal brand. And so they have to start to understand your personal brand. Okay. So next thing I was going to say is, using that real estate, what I mentioned earlier about the kind of the just below your name, utilizing what they're calling like a headline of your resume to kind of give a little short snip about you, right? Like this short kind of one-liner about who you are. Like that is something that absolutely takes things a far distance. The other thing I would suggest is if you can already point people in the direction of the social media that you want them to go to, put it on there. Don't feel shy. Everybody's looking at this on a PDF. It should be clickable. So make sure that yours is clickable. Just test it out. I should have said that at the beginning. Do not send your resume in Word. Don't do that. When I get resumes in Word, I'm like, I don't even open them. I just skip it. I just file them away because I'm like, I don't understand. Why would I want to have editing permissions on your resume? Like it doesn't make any sense. And the other thought and along that same vein is if you're sending the resume to someone, make sure that you have tested it yourself. Make sure it opens properly. You could even send it to your friend, your partner, whatever. Send it to someone else and let them test it and make sure it opens successfully. I have received resumes that I can't even open. Like, what is the purpose of that? So make sure you are aware of the functionality of your own resume. And then keeping in mind that people are going to they should be able to click links. We're going to try to click the link. If it's hyperlinked, we're going to try to click it. So just make sure it goes somewhere and make sure it goes to the place that you want it to go to. And back to my point about LinkedIn is, or I'm sorry, not LinkedIn, about where you want them to go, social media. If it's LinkedIn, which I think it should be LinkedIn. Make sure that your LinkedIn is up to date. Make sure you have a picture. Like can't tell you how many times I go to the LinkedIn. It's not like there's not even any real information up there. Like I don't want to be your friend or connect with you on LinkedIn. I want to see you. I want to see your face on LinkedIn. So you got to have some information up there for me to connect with. So absolutely make sure that you have some sort of LinkedIn presence. You don't have to be like the most famous person on LinkedIn where you have all these connections or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that we can go there and we can see, okay, like there is a person. They have been keeping up with technology. That is a huge marker and a huge tell. Is like if you're in the job search right now and you haven't gone to one of the main sources for employers and folks that are networking in technology, right, on the kind of social media front, then you're probably not going to be the person that's going to be able to keep up with a fast-moving technological environment such as healthcare. Healthcare is a technological environment. It is. All right. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's very fast moving and it's constantly changing, and you have to learn how to work around certain things when things don't work. And that's, being agile in kind of the Google machine. So keep in mind that we pay attention to those things, and we honestly, and it sounds harsh, but we pass judgments based on that. We're like, okay, well, this person, doesn't know how to change this piece of, to send me a resume in PDF. Like something as basic as that. Like they don't know how to convert a Word document to a PDF before sending it, or the importance of that. They're probably not going to pay attention when they send an important email to a client, right? So those are things that we do think about. So it's important that you think about them first and really start to kind of like, use that as a part of how you create your own resume and expose all of your knowledge. Okay, so but that, I think that was my last. Let me see. Yeah, use your real estate. Oh, one of these things is actually a tip from another coach of mine, which is using video if you feel comfortable. If you were going for like a higher level executive position, you're going to have to do a video interview or something along those lines. If you can muster up the courage, do a video, a little kind of salesy pitch, like, hey, my name is such and such. So happy that you've come to check out my Vimeo or my video about myself. And, I look forward to getting to know you. You don't even need to give yourself like, a long sales pitch, so to speak, but think about if you were to do kind of like get in, the elevator pitch concept. If you were to get into a space with someone who might offer you a position and you have an opportunity to say some words to them, just like you would if you were in an elevator for just a few moments, what would you say? Maybe you could say those things in a quick video and post a link to that video. You could put that on your LinkedIn. That is something that I see a lot of folks that are, when they're savvy, they're doing things like that. So important, because again, we like to see and get to know the person. Like if I don't have to invest sweat equity to get to kind of get to know whether I would like you, and I can just go to a link and see, wow, okay, this person, very articulate. They seem like they've got a positive energy, and they seem like they could bring some really, some great energy into my organization. I'm gonna interview them, even if you don't say anything about your experience. Somehow, even just that video, you showing up in yourself and as yourself and with your own qualities, has a way of communicating and holding so much more weight than any experience. Like you could even give voice to your lack of experience. You can say, listen, I am brand new to healthcare, but I spent many years in this industry and I am excited and I have worked hard and I know I can do a fantastic job for your organization. I'd be like, what? Like you have to think about like that kind of like confidence and just like just being real and not saying, oh, I know this, I know that. Like, no one really wants to go into an interview. So if you could save that, and where instead now you're basically in a job offer meeting instead of an interview, because they've already decided they like you. Now you're just like, oh, how much? Okay. That's where you want to be. And that's honestly where the employers want to be too. We really do not want to sit through multiple levels of interviews. We would like to kind of upfront know who we're getting. All right. Let's see. All right. So here is I'm going to share. Bear with me. I think I'm going to share. I almost got it. There we go. That is not what I wanted. I almost invited someone to the meeting. There we go. All right. And now I got to find the screen. All right, you guys. There it is. Okay. So as I mentioned before, I literally just Googled and found, I think I Googled, what did I say? Resume templates, just as I said, oh, I should probably have something to express a little bit of like, I was thinking I was going to get some poor examples and I was going to pick it apart. But instead, you guys, I got like this was, I think, at the top of the Google. It might have been the first or second listing there. So I am not sponsored by these people. I have no idea what their work really produces. These are some examples that they have here on their main page. So yeah, so right here, and again, you don't need to pay someone to create a resume. I think you can go out here and do exactly what we're doing today and just take a look at what's out there. So let's look at Sophia's resume. So look, y'all, this is exactly what I was sharing about the picture. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I know Sophia. Like I don't even need to really know who she is to feel like, okay, I kind of get a sense of like, she seems friendly. I don't, and they've got up here bank teller. You can even say something that is the position again that she's looking for, right? So she is doing the great job by putting out their bank teller as what she kind of as her title, even if she's brand new to being a bank teller. That's a position she's seeking. You can add other words up there, experienced bank teller or certified, or, I don't know if you can be certified bank teller, but basically you can put some additional information up there to, let me make this a little, can I make this bigger? Maybe I can't. Hope you guys can see that okay. Basically, you have the ability to utilize this space. And like I said, it has a different color. Not only does it have this different color, but obviously her name and the bank teller much bigger than the rest of the font on the resume. All right. And you can just see already throughout the entire resume, they have different colors. So things that we know we want you to draw your attention to. Okay, where's she been a bank teller? Where's her work experience? Where are the different areas of the resume? And voila, one page. Now she only has 2 work experiences. That's totally fine. But, one page. Now, if she had multiple, let's say she's got like 4 or 5 based on whatever reason, think about ways to consolidate something that's like 3rd position. Okay, here's a perfect example. Like this is her 3rd position. I mean, okay, probably the same as the first 2 if she's been doing the same job for a while. So maybe not as much of a detailed explanation. Let's say the last position has the most relevant experience to what she is looking to do in the position that she's looking to be hired for. Then why would you break out so many details in this older position if the most relevant experience is in the latest, right? And this is, by the way, in case you aren't familiar, you should always have your most recent experience at the top, and it's going back in reverse chronological order. Okay. So going back up to the top. So this is typical backwards presentation that's been kind of more common these days, where you aren't seeing this at the top of the resume because of, again, the space saving. You want to be able to utilize this, what web developers basically call above the fold. It's like before you turn your eyes off, before you have to like scroll down, I want to see all that I need to see in these first couple of sentences. Why would you put the phone number and the email, all the contact information, all that stuff at the top, right? You need the most important information at the top of the resume. Okay. And then over here is what we talked about. These are some of those soft skills, right? And some of the hard skills. And even she's got some additional things over here. And look, I love this because, again, back to human interests, meditation, sustainability, Italian cuisine. All of a sudden, she's a person. She's not just a piece of paper. This is Sophia. She likes Italian food. She likes to meditate, right? So you all of a sudden personify yourself for the employer, okay? So really important to think about ways that you can do this. You can create a little bit more connection with them from day one. So, and here's just one with an example of the skills rating that I was talking about. So this one's a little bit more kind of, we'll say, it's laid out in a different way, right? So obviously you've got picture off to the right. You've got all the, as I said, the meat of what we're looking for at the top, because it gives just those quick little one-liner, what his position is or what he would like it to be. And you have the summary right at the top. And he's only got 2 sentences, but it's to the meat of what his experience has been, okay? So it's a summary, literally. Summary shouldn't be like 5 sentences long. You should summarize into a couple of sentences, 2 to 3 max, so that you can get your point across. Because again, we're probably not going to read all of the details that are down here. Most of us are just glancing at dates and employers, okay? But this is the rating of the soft skills that I was talking about. His is a little different than what I would probably recommend, those bulleted ones. I'd probably make it a little bit more clear, but it's, with stars or something like that. And I don't think it needs to take up this much space. I actually would utilize Sophia's version, leaving it off to the side, because we're probably not as, we maybe don't care as much about the details of these skills versus the potential that you might have more work experience. But I did utilize the space well, right? Again, back to it's one page. It's one page. Okay. So, I mean, one page and he's got all of, oh, here we go. See, I love this. This is cute. So he's filled in the bullets based on, he's really proficient in English, a little bit in Spanish, and then a good amount in Spanish, and then a little bit in French, which is cool. So yeah, so just, different way to present it. But again, back to as concise as possible, using the space as wisely as possible. Couldn't think of the word. My brain is tired today. So I like these though. So there's a lot of really great examples up here. Let me see. I haven't looked at any of these, you guys. I told you I literally just clicked on this thing right before here. This one looks pretty okay. They don't have a picture, but it's got some pretty interesting things. So once again, using the space super wisely. Oh, and then if you guys haven't noticed, all the resumes we've clicked on have LinkedIns. This person also has other things. I don't know what these other things are. I'm guessing that's supposed to be like a pretend their own website. And then I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing they're just giving examples of other uses of the links on there. And then over here, we've got the skills. They're just listed. They're not rated, which I think is perfectly fine. If you are in the healthcare industry, one of the things that we care most about is software. This is perfect. This is like kind of like a coder, I guess. Yeah, web developer. Yeah, because they've got some important language, software developer language in here. That same thing goes for healthcare. Like we want to know what software experience do you have? Are there special skills that you might have that we could utilize? For example, if you've taken like a advanced training in Excel and you're like super proficient in that, that's very valuable in healthcare organizations because often we have to do a lot of writing. So GitHub is a coding thing. Oh, thank you. Like computer coding. I love that. Thank you, Nicole. So I didn't know that. So there we go. So that's a resource I'm guessing that, she's connected to. An example of that, like, is if you have a connection to AAPC or some other organization that you have your own profile on there that shows your experience or something listed, something you might want to link, right? So yeah, so these are good. Other little certificates, personal projects. That's cute. He did his own personal website, and again, languages. So, these resume examples are fantastic. And I hope you use these. The reality is this, you can, if you are unsure of how to do this, and I haven't even checked, and maybe Nicole, if you want to plug it in or see in Canva, I'm pretty sure Canva probably has resume templates. Canva has actually, I could pull it up. Why not do that? Canva has templates for everything. We're just going to say pretty much everything. This is Canva. And I'm not going to like go too far into detail, but if you click over here into templates, they pretty much have they have templates for like pretty much everything that you want or need. One of the great things about a tool like this is if you aren't sure how to get like colors or like interesting fonts or whatever, or you don't have like a great kind of, knack for designing things, you don't have to. You could probably go out here, and we're just going to like, for fun, let's see. Here we go. Suggested templates. Well, there you go. So you've got your resumes. Voila. So you could literally come in here, and if, I'm not going to do a tutorial on Canva today, but I'm sure someone on YouTube has, but you can go into one of these resumes and make it your own. You change out the picture, you put your name, you put your work experience, and literally these are exact. Let me see if I can preview. Let's see. This is like an exact example of what we were just talking about. Okay, that just opened it up. I wanted to try to maximize, as you can see, but yeah, so these are great examples of what we were just talking about. So now all of a sudden it's just a clean look. You've got a lot, you definitely are going to stand out because majority of the people that sending resumes in healthcare are not, we're just not with it, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what that is. Like, and we use a little bit more technology. Get out of using Word. Do not make your resume, or don't send your resume with the Indeed one that it compiles for you. I can tell right away when someone didn't put any effort into a resume and just let Indeed do the resume for them based off of like work experience or whatever. It's the lazy way. And it also, again, you literally blur yourself into the background, because so many people are doing that. And it's just like, ugh, same one over and over and over. Like we do an ad and we'll get like 300 resumes, and there might be like 7 that I keep. I hate going through them, but there might be like 7 that I keep out of the lot of them, because it's just like, eventually, I mean, keep in mind, like, I mean, I'm looking at a bunch of them. Eventually it just looks old and, the same, like you're looking at the same thing all the time. All right. So, yeah, so these are just really, really great, templates here, exactly what we've been talking about. And y'all, didn't even go out here. So the true story, I read this comment 2 days ago, and I thought, okay, or these comments, I should say, a couple of days ago when we were working down comments, and this idea came up. So I haven't even had a chance to do some of this research, but there you go. We just did it live on YouTube. So you have every opportunity to get out here and spruce up your resume, make yourself stand out, and get away from, let me stop screen sharing. There we go. And get away from that language of I'm having trouble getting the job, or I can't stand out, or I can't, I'm not seen when they are getting my resume, And now the next level is going to be obviously interviewing and how you're interviewing. So we'll probably have to talk about that in a later video, because I'm already 45 minutes in. Time flies when I'm hanging out with you guys. I really love hanging out with you. So we're gonna like call that a wrap. I feel like that was a lot, but I hope that it helped you. Can you let me know if it helped you? As I'm gonna reply to some of those other comments, and remind them that we put this video up here so that they can also let me know. I hope that you guys use this. And I almost forgot one last little tip here. When you apply, when you submit your resume to the organizations, don't just like use the main submitter and send those out and then like forget that you sent it. If you have the ability to go to that company's site, record their name, save their name, make sure that you have record of the company, go out, Google them, get their information, try to reach out to them outside of the platform. If you can get your resume pulled out of Indeed, even if it's just by leaving a voicemail for the HR person, you're just like, hey, I just wanted to check in and see if you guys are still hiring for this. My name is this and this and this. It will bring you to the front of the line, because now they are familiar with your name. They're going to start to understand that, oh, this person's pretty motivated. Like, they're pretty determined to get this position. So make sure that you are going the extra mile. Now, if you aren't really that interested in the position, don't do it. But if you know that you want this position, not just send your resume, but keep record of that company, reach out to them, phone call, email, stalk them, cyber stalk them, DM them on LinkedIn. I don't care, however you need to do it. Get yourself in front of these people so that they have your name and they have your picture, so they know what you look like. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to go. It's 7:30 p.m. Eastern. But listen, next week is Thanksgiving. We are not going to go live on Thursday next week. I will be live on Wednesday next week. And there is going to be a bonus live this weekend coming up. So keep an eye out for that reminder coming into Facebook and YouTube. Make sure that you mark that on your calendars. I'm sharing some really exciting news, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. And hopefully more of you can join us during this weekend live, since it'll be our first weekend live in a long time. So yeah, well, anyway, until then, I look forward to hearing all of your comments and seeing all of your comments, and communicating with you guys in the Facebook group. And be well, okay? Take care of yourselves. There's a lot of colds and ickiness traveling around out there, so take care of yourselves. Have a good night, y'all.